Hello, everybody, and welcome to Football FANattic. And of course, I'm FANattic Ben, and I just want to talk to you this week about the League Two, the EFL League Two. I mean, obviously, last week we did speak about the WSL, and we have spoken obviously about the Championship and the Premier League. So we're going down a little bit further now in the pyramid to talk about EFL League Two. And this week I'm joined by Stefan, who's a Gillingham supporter, and he's also involved with the secretary part of Gillingham. And it's very interesting to know that Gillingham started the season really, really well. And I think there are everybody's picks to sort of just go up automatically. But they faded away recently over the last few weeks. And is there a reason why that has happened, obviously, Stefan?
Yeah, it's the familiarity of it's almost mirrored the last couple of seasons. We seem to start every season flying high. Everyone gets a bit excited. We're usually in the top couple of positions, and then we hit the dreaded October. When October hits, it always seems to go downhill. It hasn't helped. Obviously, our gaffer Gareth Ainsworth had to have some heart surgery. And actually posted yesterday he was back at training, overseeing things. Whether or not he'll be in the dugout for our away game at Bristol Rovers on Saturday remains to be seen. But it always seems to happen when we hit around October time. We start dropping points and sliding down the table a bit. It's unbelievable, really. It really is.
I mean, it's amazing, really, how teams just develop like that, because you can start really well, then you have a bit of a decline, and then you come back with a flourish. Or some teams just start off terrible, and it's not until later, 2 or 3 months in the season, then they go on a massive winning streak. And then you think, why didn't they do this at the beginning? We'd have been at the top, no problem. It happens like that in football. But is there anything you feel that, like, why Gillingham have sort of, they had injury problems, had they had other problems of why it's sort of developed like that? Or do you think it's just the cause of the month?
We're Gillingham FC. We've always got injury problems. That's part and parcel of the club since I can remember in recent times. It's nothing new. We lost Connor Masterson, one of our top centre backs, really early on in the season. He's still out. We did recently, a couple of games ago, we lost our number one goalkeeper, Glenn Morris, within the opening minute or two of a home game. And it's from judging from the photos back in training, it looks like Gareth McCleary, who everyone in the EFL knows who he is and what he's about, and what he can offer. He looks like he should be near on ready. Johnny Smith, who we got on loan from Wigan Athletic, I think was an absolute coup getting him on loan. He sort of came in, started off brightly. He was out injured, so it's more a case of just trying to get players back now. With the gaffer coming back, it looks like he's coming back, having him around again, because from talking to some of the players myself, they've all said that Gareth Ainsworth's lot was like a breath of fresh air at the club. He came in at a very, very dark time in their club. We had gone from Neil Harris to Stephen Clements to Mark Bonner, John Coleman on an interim basis, and it was just getting worse and worse and worse. And since Gareth Ainsworth came in, obviously we had that 21 unbeaten run from the tail end of last season into this season, and we've started faltering since he's been missing. So I think injuries have not helped. We've not really had a settled squad, but it's League Two, it's scrappy, and these things happen.
I mean, a lot of people don't seem to know that obviously with the League Two situation, it's not like the Premier League where the big money is. Obviously, teams like in League One and League Two, they have to really, count the pennies more. And they're not on TV every week. They're not given massive deals like the Premier League sides are, where for a fact every season a team's going to have 100 million minimum to spend. You have to buy to sell. You have to live within your means at teams like Gillingham. And it's a hard place to be, because obviously also Gillingham's a club where their nearest rival, I would say, is probably Colchester, which isn't naturally round the corner. They're in a remote area. So it's obviously people from the area will go and support that club, which is great to see. But you feel that with smaller teams, they need more money. They need more revenue to come through the door. Obviously, ticket sales to try and make the ground feasible for people to come every week to watch the team play. So, and it's a domino effect, because obviously if the team aren't playing well, people are not going to turn up on a cold day to watch it. If things aren't going right, again, people, I can't be bothered. It happens. In the lower league, it's very, very structured. It's very difficult to work on, I know as well. And, people like yourself going to watch these teams play, you're the main people that are there. This is why the club is there for you. They love their supporters, because you're a main focus of that football club. They're not worried about we've got Arsenals and people like that, because everyone would support teams like that. That's not an issue. But the local sides, they have to try and keep people in. Obviously, the community area must be really good around Gillingham to keep people involved and stuff like that. But do you feel that the change will happen very soon? Is there anything in the horizon? Maybe a rich tycoon coming in or something to try and give them some more money or something?
I don't think in it. Gillingham particularly, I don't see that happening. Obviously, our ownership changed hands. Quite late on. I think it was at the end of 2021. The Brad and Shannon Gallatin took over as majority shareholders. Obviously, the club was in a bit of a state mentally and with the atmosphere around the club because of Paul Scally, our former chairman. Definitely, there was the big disconnect between the club and the community and the supporters. A lot of damage has been done, which has been really difficult to repair. There are still supporters that still haven't come back because of, they still believe that the ex-chairman is still somewhat involved, which he's not really. He was voted off the board of directors. So I think, there's still a lot of work to be done. Obviously, looking through the football pyramid, it is unfortunate that the lower leagues don't get as much exposure. As you've alluded to, I think it's great that Sky, I know some people see Sky Sports as kind of a bit of an enemy because of pricing, which it is ridiculous pricing, to be fair. But more games of the lower leagues are starting to be shown in the EFL, like League One, League Two, because of Sky Sports Plus. So games that are not 3 p.m. kickoffs, whether they're the 12:30s, 5:30s, or some evening games, are now getting televised on Sky Sports Plus, which is good. But it's not enough, and the clubs are not making anywhere near enough money off it. And in order for teams to compete and to get to where they should be and where they want to be, there needs to be more financial help, because clubs, we look at clubs which were synonymous with English football over the years. We've looked at how many of them are falling into administration. We look at the mess that's been going on with Sheffield Wednesday. And it's happening more and more because careless owners are coming in, but there's no help from an outside source taking care of the clubs that are in those leagues, which I do think is something that needs to be looked at, and improvements should be made. Otherwise, we'll gradually start losing clubs over decades to come. We will do, and it'll be unfortunate.
100% agree with you. I totally agree with that, because I'm one of these people. I mean, obviously, I've seen lots of clubs go to the wall myself, and you feel, why can't someone help them? Why can't there be a bigger person just coming in, just giving them that little bit of money to help them? I mean, clubs like Bury, they were in a situation where they had two massive teams nearby in Manchester, and neither one of them would help in a certain way. I mean, I don't know what they could do, but some form of help would have been better than nothing. And obviously the situation with Sheffield Wednesday now, a lot of that is mainly to do with the chairman situation there. But when a team goes into administration, it's the supporters that suffer. It's the players that suffer. It's the staff that suffer. And, this is what happens. Heads roll because they can't afford to keep people there. They can't afford to get things working. And then it becomes a real mockery of the way things are, because these people are not vetted right. They're not given the right stance to say, how much money do you actually have in your bank and how much can you bankroll this football club? That is what needs to be done.
Yeah, I mean, on the tail end of last season, I was on a podcast which I'm on. It's a weekly podcast that we have at Gillingham called The View from the Medway. One of my fellow supporters club committee members runs that, and we actually had a Morecambe supporter on with us to talk to us about our game with them, and he was sharing about how desperate they were all feeling because the stuff that was going on at Morecambe with the ownership and what like that. And then obviously they dropped out of the Football League at the end of last season, and they've gone through a very, very terrible time. And it is really sad. You can see the pain in their eyes because to outsiders, you look at it and just go, oh, yeah, but it's just a football club. But these clubs have existed long before us and our grandparents and things like that. And it's the core of your community and the towns and the cities that you live in. It's been the lifeblood of many family bonding relationships and things like that. There is so much more importance with having a football club in your area than just it being a sport for entertainment. It's that bond you share. It's part of your culture, your life. And I don't think that these owners that come in sometimes, they really do appreciate and respect the foundations of what they're buying. And it was really interesting when we first met Brad and Shannon Gallinson, the new owners of Gillingham, when they first came in. They spoke about why they chose Gillingham. They looked at some bigger teams higher up the football pyramid as potential projects, but they said there was just something about Gillingham which they thought was a good project that they could help sustain and take forward over time. Yes, it's not turned out the way we wanted it to yet, but there's like a 2-year plan. We are hoping we want to sort of get out of League Two and then kind of push on from there. But ultimately, the atmosphere is a lot better than what it has been in years.
I mean, this is the thing. I mean, as you said, you stumped on there. You said about going through generations of people going to the games. You going through the situation of, trying to bring people in. I mean, youngsters as well. I mean, a dad wants to take his boy to the game to become a Gillingham supporter. It's the next step. That kid's going to become an adult one day, and then he might want to take his kids along. And if there's no football club there, then it's sad. It really is sad to have that sort of level in the footballing pyramid, where you see the sides up in the top divisions have got money, they've got massive stadiums, they've got everything going for them, and the lower sides are just really standing there with their hands out, hoping to get something to help them out. I mean, that brings me on to my next point, really, also, which is cup competitions. I think the rug was completely pulled off every team in the lower league when they disregarded replays in the FA Cup, because they need the money, they need the extra revenue. And to not give that to them now and to say, well, it's a one-off game, blah, blah, you've got to go through with it. That I think that was terrible. I really do, because the FA Cup is the oldest cup competition in the world. It brings revenue into the lower clubs that need the revenue, but it also brings that kind of euphoria that lower league teams need. Your season could ride on you playing Liverpool, in the third round of the FA Cup. You're going to get a nice bit of money turn up, and you get a draw. Oh, we've got to go back to Liverpool to play the replay. Now that's taken away because obviously powers that be have taken it away. But I feel that money is drawn out, because obviously you get prize money for going through the rounds and things like that. Fantastic. But that's not going to benefit a club financially long term. That's just going to finance for that short period. And EFL 2 clubs, EFL League 1 clubs that are still struggling with money. And then you go further down the pyramid, National League, and they're all struggling. They all need the finances. But I feel to take that away from the team, especially in the first 2 or 3 rounds of the FA Cup, to say to them, look, we're not having a replay, but we need the money. Well, that's the way it goes. And it's hard. I really do. I find, with cup competitions, it can be very difficult. I mean, I don't know what your take is on the EFL trophy, but I think myself personally, it's a waste of a competition now. But obviously, I know Gillingham have been in the latter stages of it and finals and stuff, but I do feel that the competition is now become a bit of a mockery.
We talk about this because the Virtue Trophy, they've called it this year, isn't it? Last year was the Bristol Street Motors Trophy, and they keep changing the name of it. There are a lot of support. I mean, there's quite a bit of a split between our own supporters, because I mean, personally, I see it as it's a competition. You can bed in a few of the youngsters in, get them a bit of experience. You can have a look at some of the Premier League under-21 sides, have a look at some of their young players as well. You sometimes often not get an entertaining game. The rules are a little bit weird that, if it's a draw, you have a penalty shootout to see who gets it's a bit strange. But I see it as an opportunity to, if you get to the final, it's a day out at Wembley, you can win a trophy. But I do agree it has become a bit of a mockery. Yeah. I also agree with you regarding the FA Cup. Now, we've for years now, there's been all this talk about the passion's gone of the FA Cup. It's not what it was when you and I were kids growing up. Yeah. Like, it was one of the best domestic competitions you'll ever watch. And it's funny when you mentioned about, for a lower league team, to get a draw at home and then get a replay, say a club like Liverpool. Look at Havant and Waterlooville X amount of years ago when they held Liverpool to a draw at home and then got they got an away. Yeah. And you are causing more problems. I mean, I can appreciate if, I don't know, you get to the quarterfinals or the semi-finals and you scrap the replays and do it penalties, because when it gets towards the end of the season, players start to tire. Maybe it's an idea to play one less game. I get that, and I can appreciate that. But yeah, don't take that away from the lower league clubs. It's detrimental to them. And again, it takes away that passion of the opportunity for the giant killings, which the FA Cup was known for. When it was all over the newspapers that, a League Two side has knocked out a top Premier League side and things like that, which I've seen. I still remember back in, I think it was 1999 or 2000, when Gillingham played Sheffield Wednesday in the FA Cup, and we beat them. Gillingham beat them 3-1. And it was also the season Sheffield Wednesday got relegated from the Premier League. And Nicky Southall scored one of and I think it's in the top 10 greatest FA Cup goals of all time. It's, days like that, you never forget. And I mean, that, it's like 25, 26 years ago, that game. And I still remember it now, those moments, like it was just yesterday. Yeah. And for the youngsters growing up, you're taking away a potential possibility of saying, when I was a kid, I was there when, I don't know, my club, say, I don't know, like Walsall or whatever, knocked out Man City or Chelsea or whoever who were in the Premier League in the FA Cup. Yeah. I just think too many people are in the wrong job that run the FA that keep changing these rules, because football is getting more and more unrecognisable to what we knew it to be. Yeah,
totally agree there. I mean, as I say, with cup competitions, I mean, I can go back many, many years for giant killings, the likes of Woking, when they had a big giant killing and beating West Brom and teams like that were top. Also Wrexham, when they were a know-nothing team and they beat Arsenal.
I mean, I remember being there when Gillingham, and it's the only time we ever got there, we were in the quarterfinals of the FA Cup against Chelsea away, and we lost 4-0. But, it was the journey we had getting there. And when we played Arsenal at Highbury and we lost, and Ty Gooden scored an absolute belter, but we only lost that game to Arsenal because late on in the game, they brought all their big guns on the pitch. We were handling the game quite nicely. So, but again, when you see the smaller clubs going toe-to-toe with the big clubs, and it's like, literally you're watching this game, and if you're a neutral, it's some of the best football you'll ever see. And to potentially take that away from supporters is not good.
No, I mean, I watched the FA Cup, obviously. After the third round, you get to the later stage, you do lose a bit of interest because the smaller teams are out of the competition, obviously, and it's just mainly the big guns left. But it's that little could it happen? Will it happen? It might happen, and for a supporter of that sort of club, it could be something they've never ever experienced in their life. They've never seen it before, that their team could be in the quarterfinals, or they could be playing a side they never expected to play and stuff like that, and that to take that away from them, I think is a real damaging effect on the lower leagues as well. Because when I heard that they said we're scrapping replays from the first round, I was like, that is ridiculous. Because I watched some fourth qualifying round matches before the first round, and there were some great games in that fourth qualifying round, and they went to replays, and you had, the likes of Hartlepool that went out, teams like big sides, and you think this could be something if they just carried it on just for 2 or 3 more rounds. Oh, I understand later stages, it makes it harder because you've got bigger competitions and the players have got to be fresh for that. I accept that. But in the early rounds, it's all about the money for the smaller clubs. And they're not going to get that if you're just taking it away from them. You're taking the bread out of their mouth completely. And it's not fair.
No, it's really not fair. It's really not fair. But I mean, this is the thing as well is, how much more is the EFL going to be treated differently to the Premier League? Because I mean, I don't like VAR. I think it's failed for the majority. I do think it ruins the passion and the debate of games and moments in games where if you lost by a goal that shouldn't have really been given and things like that. But you went to school or you went to work and you spoke to your mates about it and said, I shouldn't have been given. You was aggrieved by it, but you accepted that was parcel of the game. Yeah. And it takes the passion out. And, one of the things that has come up in conversation on match days at like Gillingham, I've spoken to some of the supporters in my end where we've turned around and said, we're kind of like, look, to be fair, if they're going to have VAR, they might as well have VAR all the way down through the Football League as well. So it's it's
everybody
equal.
has it.
I don't agree with it. I don't particularly want it. But to be fair, with the level of and the standard of match officiating on every game almost that I go to in League Two, you need it because the match officiating is absolutely atrocious. I mean, when we a couple of weeks back when we played away, we had a referee called Zach Kettle. He was the son of Trevor Kettle, who was also quite a notorious referee for bizarre decisions and getting a little bit card happy. And he absolutely robbed us of our game. He sent off Romeo Hutton when he was the player that was fouled. It was never read. Honestly, we see it week in, week out, and we think, all right, this is where VAR could benefit us at this level, because if they turn around and say to the ref, I don't know what you're doing, but you've got it wrong, mate. You better, better make the right choice here. I don't know. It's a minefield. There's so many things that are wrong with English football now, with the way they've changed things and not doing enough here and there. It's where's it going to end up?
That's it. I mean, the point of fact is, as you said about referees, I mean, if these young referees are in the lower leagues and they're making the mistakes, they've got to go up the ladder. They want to get into the top division. They want to get into be Premier League referees. But if they're making the mistakes at League Two level, then surely they're going to be making mistakes at the top level because they're just making cardinal errors. I mean, I hate VAR, really. I was one of the big people that wanted VAR when it first came. But seeing the way it's being used, seeing the way it's being abused, really, by the Premier League, as it's just, I just don't understand it.
I agree with you.
Last night, I was watching Champions League football. They do VAR in Champions League football, and they get the right result straight away. They know what they're giving straight away. It's that's the decision done. We seem to have this. I don't know what it is, but a problem. We're waiting for everything for so long. You're sitting there, you're thinking, is it a goal? Is it not a goal? I think you can't celebrate a goal because 2 minutes later, a referee's looking at a big screen that has been told to look at, and he's been told, sorry, it's disallowing it.
Yeah. I mean, could you imagine if you're down at the last game of the season and you need a win to avoid relegation? You need 3 points to avoid relegation. Say the game's level and you're into stoppage time at the very end of the game, and all of a sudden, one of your players scores that goal, that will keep you safe. Or say, for example, will win you that title.
Yeah.
And the place absolutely erupts. You're in front of your own home supporters. The place is going amazing. You're thinking, oh, this is dream stuff. This is dreamland. We're in. And then it's like, oh, VAR are considering an offside or a foul in a build-up and all that. And you're standing there waiting patiently for that decision. It sucks the life out of those celebrations, that living in the moment.
I know.
And you're right, for some reason in England, we can't seem to get all those decisions right. VAR is failing in English football because it's too inconsistent. Yeah. And I don't think it helps with these constant season-to-season rule changes and things like that they keep implementing to try and tweak the rule here and there, because referees have to remember those and get up to scratch. But when you look at VAR give one decision one week and then it's a carbon copy of the incident the following week and then they don't give it, it's not working.
No.
I
said to someone at the weekend, what is a handball? Because you don't know.
Oh, Ben, I tell you, the one thing about with VAR that I hate the most decision is when someone is given offside when it's like a very slight inch
millimeter
of a toe, or a shoulder blade, or like the tip of your shoulder in there. And I'm thinking, but that's not an advantage. That's not a big enough advantage on the attacking player. It's not going to make a difference. So I don't understand why.
No, I don't. I mean, I've seen it and they've given it like a hand is offside or a finger. You think, well, you can't score with your hand, so why should it be worried about it?
I think any part of your body you can't score, i.e. your arm, hand, etc., should be ruled out in that.
Yeah, completely. Back onto League Two.
Yeah.
You've seen a few teams already this season. Obviously, Gillingham have played 14 games already in the league this season. Best teams that you played and the worst teams that you played?
MK Dons. I went to MK Dons away. I was really shocked at how poor the numbers were in their support for such a big stadium, because that's Premier League caliber stadium. They played some great football against us. I don't think we particularly helped ourselves. When we got into the game too late on, and obviously we came back into it to make it 3-2. But they played some good stuff. Swindon, it hates because we hate Swindon. Swindon, unfortunately, have been playing some really good stuff. But then again, their recruitment has been pretty solid. It's not every day I get a little bit envious of Swindon, but they got some top players in. They really, really did. And that's the thing with League Two as well, is recruitment is extremely key, because it is a hard, I call it the pit of English football, because it is very difficult to get out. It's the trenches for me. Walsall, and I apologise to you for bringing this up if any Walsall fans listen to this. Walsall are an intriguing one because we've been here before. We was here last season where they were practically top for the majority of the season, and then they threw it away. They just dropped and dropped and dropped. So I've got an eye on them to see if they can actually maintain the course this time, whether they could right the wrongs from last season. Salford, I think the teams that where they are right now, I think they're all doing really, really well. I think with Salford, I know there's apparently some impending changes going there with their logo going back to their original orange kits next season and things like that. But I feel that with us, once Gareth's back and we can get players fit and back into the squad, I think we'll turn a corner again. I think we will go back and push up. I still think we will finish at least playoffs. If we can maintain a good run under Ainsworth, I still think we could push top 3, which is what I predicted at the start of the season. So we'll see. But yeah, it's going to be a battle. It's going to be a proper fight. And I think League 2 is going to get a bit exciting in the latter stages.
Do you like the idea of the 4 in the playoffs, obviously from 4, 5, 6 and 7, and the 1, 2 and 3 obviously being up? Or do you feel that it should be just, as it is the other leagues above, with like the top 2 go up and then the playoffs below it. So
I do think it's the top 2 plus a playoff winner, so 3 up, 3 down. I do think that is how it should be. But as I said, because League Two is such a difficult league to get out of, and it's so scrappy, and I think it helps having that extra place to go up. So I don't dislike it too much. But like I said, I still think it's that consistency, maintaining. If you're going to do it in the Premier League, where 3 go down, 3 come up to the Premier League, same thing with the Championship. I would keep it the same all the way through. But but I think also with teams that go down, it's nice to have the opportunity to see more teams from the National League have a chance to come up.
The gap is obviously a lot closer now between National League and League Two, obviously, because obviously big teams have gone down to National League and gone back promoted again. But there's also some teams that have gone out the league and struggled to get back up again, and it's one of them sort of things. I mean, obviously a team near you, Southend, is one of them that, had a big struggle. They nearly actually went out of football completely at one stage. And it's, I feel that there should be, maybe a National League should now be League 3, to be honest with you, because it's a lot of the teams in that league are
ex-football league teams.
Yeah. And I think it could be something possible at a later date. But what is your idea of the new idea they have with with this playoff system, what they do in the National League? I don't think it will be worthwhile to do in the higher leagues, but it's a proposal that has been put forward that they feel that so many teams are going to be in the playoff situation, and it goes to 3rd and 4th place team don't play until the last 2 games and all that sort of stuff. So I feel the way it is at the moment is better. But the way that the National League work theirs is a lot different, obviously, because one goes up automatically, and then as far as 4, 5, 6, and 7 play each other, and the winners of that play 2 and 3, and then I
don't like that. I don't see any reason why that should change. I mean, I do think maybe they should change it to keep more in line with how the Football League works. I think maybe you have your top 1, maybe your top 2 go through to go up, and then maybe if they sort out the places, then you have the playoff places, and it's like literally how it is in the pyramid of the EFL. I mean, that's the thing. Go back to what you were saying about looking at Football League. So, I mean, you look at teams like Scunthorpe that you used to see all the time in the Football League, teams like those. And, I remember when the Gallinsons came in and took over, we were rooted to League Two and we were favourites to go down. And it was only when they came in and there was a bit of recruitment in January where the table started to turn and we started to perform and we managed to get out of danger and we survived. The thought of going out of the Football League scares me to death. It really does, because history shows quite frequently teams that go down, they don't get back up quickly or at all. But I mean, you look at teams like Bromley, for example, which is, one of it is the closest to us. Some people see it as a derby. It sort of is, but they've come in and they've done relatively well. Barnet's come up again, after they've been gone for a while. But I mean, I look at the nearest other club to us now who are in the National is Chatham Town. Chatham Town's obviously a part of our towns. We're Gillingham, Chatham Town. We're sort of, the next town along for them, and they're doing wonders with their ownership, and they're pushing forward. I mean, I would be really excited to see to be able to see the likes of Gillingham, Bromley, and Chatham Town all in the Football League. Obviously, Gillingham higher up the pyramid than those, but. It would be great to see. I mean, I personally, if there's, a Gillingham away game that I can't get to, I'll quite happily go and watch Chatham Town at home. If Gillingham are away and it's an away game I can't go to and Chatham at home. Why not? I'd support them. They're still local, but obviously, allegiance is with the Gills.
Exactly. I mean, ticket prices at Gillingham are good. happy with them?
Yeah, they're not bad. They're not too bad at all. I'm still a season ticket holder. I think on average, match day ticket for an adult, ranges around about. I think it's around about £22 to £25, about 22 quid a game, around about that. So yeah, it's been good that the Gallinsons, they kind of froze all the ticket prices, especially the season ticket prices. Under 14s, I think still works out like £8, £9, £10, which is good. So yeah, ticketing's fine. I've got no qualms with them over that. The one thing I do feel, and this probably might get mentioned in a meeting at some point, because as I said, I'm secretary of the supporters club, is the season ticket, maybe introducing season ticket packages where you get more than just your seat with your season ticket. Maybe a couple of I'm not saying like give us a shirt or something, but maybe some exclusive merchandise or something which is solely for season ticket holders or something. Give us a little, a few little extra nice little bits to add in. I think would be a nice touch.
Maybe 10% off something in the shop, maybe, or something.
Yeah, because we get 5% and it works out about like £2 off or something like that.
Yeah, that's it. It's not a lot.
It's not a lot. It's not a lot, to be fair. But I think if lower league clubs had more incentives in their season ticket for season ticket holders, I think maybe some might be more inclined to go, actually, do you know what? I think that's a really good bargain for me buck. So it might entice people to commit.
Right, last question to ask you then. In a fantasy world, Gillingham being top of the tree in the Premier League, would you take it, or would you be happy as a Gillingham supporter in League Two?
Well, I mean, as long as the club is being run correctly, and it's not all about like what Man City have been doing, where we're getting brought up on suspicious charges and things like that. If the club is being run, I mean, we look at the likes of Brighton, who we ground shared for a season while they were having their stadium built when they were in the further down the leagues. You look at where they are; they're one of the best run clubs in England. If we can be run, whether it's the Gallinsons still or whether it's someone else, as long as the club is being run correctly and the supporters and the community are shown to be priorities to the club, and we're looked after, and the experience is still as good, that why not? I'd love to see us get the furthest we can go. I don't think we'll see it in my lifetime, but I'd be satisfied if we could become a sustained championship side at the very least within the next, decade. I would be happy, because we spent 5 years in the championship, and it was unfortunate we went down, and we've not managed to get back. So
it's just a slippery slope. That's what happens. I mean, some teams have gone down and down and down. I mean, the likes of teams like, you've seen big clubs like Cardiff, they can go up, but they come straight back down again. They're just not adequate enough to be in that division, and it's hard to see, I mean, clubs that I follow, and they're in the championship, but they have a bad season. They look like they can go down, and they try and get a few results. They stay in the division. You're looking at teams, that sort of, it's hard. I mean, it's really hard.
What frustrates me, and it really does frustrate me as just a football lover, a lover of the game, and from an outsider, because obviously it's not one of my teams, when you see the same teams getting promoted to the Premier League, then they're relegated, then they're promoted, then they're relegated. They play yo-yo between the Premier League and the Championship, and they don't. Whenever they get there, it's like they're too good for the Championship, but they're nowhere near good enough for the Premier League, and they don't find that balance, and it happens. Like, I mean, and I'm sorry to dig other teams out, but I know teams like Norwich City, for example, it happens with them quite a lot. Sheffield United, it's happened with them quite a bit.
Burnley as well, recently.
Burnley as well, although Burnley look a fairly decent side at the moment. They're getting there. I'm not confident they will stay up, but I think they will have periods this season where they will look better than other periods.
I mean, there's obviously teams like West Brom are always boing because it was always the up and down.
Sunderland are looking good.
Yes, they're very
They're
good.
looking good. So
Yeah, I
who
watched them on
knows?
Monday night. I thought they were excellent against
Yeah.
Everton.
Who knows? I mean, I say this all the time. You know, you look at teams like Brentford, Brighton, you know, teams like that who we used to see every season almost in the Football League when we would be in the Championship, League One and whatnot. And you look at where they are now, like Brentford, for example. Bournemouth, exactly. Another prime example. I've seen Gilles v Bournemouth countless times in the Football League. And I just keep thinking, do you know what? Why not us? You know, why not us? Because I think a lot of it has been down to ownership that's held us back for so long.
But
and now,
you
never know. That's it.
You never know. I mean, you never know what could be around the next corner. The people that are taking charge now, or the people that might take charge next, could do something. You just never know what could come around the next corner. Well, thank you very much for your time, Stefan. Really much appreciate for you to come in on. And obviously, we look forward to seeing you again and talk about Gillingham, hopefully, towards the end of the season, what they're doing, and hopefully something else. Got a big game this weekend against Bristol Rovers away. So that would be quite a tricky place to go to, Bristol Rovers. If they're on song, they can be quite tricky to beat. But you never know what could be happening. If things are going right with Gareth Ainsworth now, then he'd be back in the club soon. He'd be back standing in the dugout. Hopefully, things will get better for you. But
yeah. I think if he's in the dugout Saturday and we've got one or two of the players that have been missing recently back in the team, then I reckon we've got a chance.
Well, best of luck to you. All the best, and take care, and enjoy the rest of your season.
Cheers, bud.
Cheers.